I am American, and I am trans. And I have the right to pursue my happiness. And that is just wrong to conflate those two things. Cutting yourself and asking for affirmation of your identity are not even in the same ballpark. There's no logical, rational reason for it. Therefore, it is a phobic. Therefore, you are transphobic. Get it? It's Brandy's World. Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today, we are taking another look at the podcast titled Generation Indoctrination, the Transgender Battle. In today's episode, we'll be looking at their episode 4 of season 1, A Nightmare, how transgender chaos is invading law and policy and threatening parents' rights. Okay. We're going to see how being trans is a nightmare, apparently. We're going to find out what they have to say. So, here we go.
What a lie from the pit of hell. These folks that are telling these children, oh, it's not going to hurt you long term. Really? It stunts your growth? You're looking at cardiovascular disease, cerebral vascular disease, infertility. These kids are being sold a lie. And I've heard the kids come back and tell this in committee meetings.
These kids are being told a lie. I'm not even sure what she's talking about yet. I'm going to make an assumption here that she's talking about hormone blockers, because right away she's like, here's a side effect and it sounds scary, here's another side effect and it sounds scary. Ooh, I bet kids don't know about side effects for medication. Ooh, that sounds scary. Well, let's see if I'm right. Let's see what she's talking about.
State Representative Robin Lundstrom of Arkansas is among those on the front lines of the transgender debate. Her frustration and resoluteness is palpable. And it's understandable because at the core of the transgender debate today is an affirmation-only model that leaves no room for questions, inquiry, rational discussion, or debate. As we've explored...
An affirmation-only policy. What does that mean? I think what they're talking about is if you're at a school, you're a teacher or a counselor at a school, and a student comes up to you and say, this is my identity. I would prefer it if other students and teachers and counselors would accept me and recognize my identity and help affirm it. It may not be reflected in my outward persona. It may not be projected in my expression right now, but I would like to express that, and can you please affirm my expression of my identity? So that's what affirmation means. The way I understand it, affirming someone's identity. Okay, apparently they don't want that. That's not good. Let's hear a little bit more.
Thus far, the implications of this diabolical approach have impacted our schools, medical institutions, and families. In this episode of Generation Indoctrination, we'll explore the perils of affirmation-only approaches and how the culture...
When is it healthy to not affirm? Like, if someone comes to you and say, hey, here's who I am, here's my identity, here's how I'm expressing, can you respect me as a human and recognize me as I'm giving you this information? And they're supposed to be like, no, I'm not going to affirm that identity. I'm not going to affirm your expression. I'm not going to affirm you because I don't think you can make a decision for yourself. That would be the opposite or the converse to affirmation, right?
Why is affirmation only a tragic and dangerous approach to addressing those who experience gender confusion, particularly children? Why is this so dangerous, Carla?
So basically because it's solely based upon our feelings. And I don't know about you.
Solely based upon our feelings. Let me ask you something, lady. Are you left-handed or right-handed? When you identify as a left-handed person or a right-handed person, is that solely based on your feelings? Do you just feel like you're left-handed, or do you feel like you're right-handed? Because those are both feelings. We can assign you a handedness, and we can force you to express that handedness. And if you try to express a different handedness, we can deny that affirmation. We can say, nope, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if you feel right-handed. You are left-handed. I assigned you left-handed, and that's how you will express it. Any deviation from that, you're going to be obfuscated. You are going to be pushed to the margins because you are not using the label we assigned to you. We assigned you left-handed. Remember that. And we are not going to affirm you being right-handed or you feel like you're right-handed. What is your feelings? Who cares about your feelings? You can feel right-handed all you want. You are assigned left-handed. Is my argument different than their argument? Come on.
But I know my own feelings change from time to time.
Yeah, sometimes I like to do things right-handed. Sometimes I like to do things left-handed. Does that mean I don't have a concept on what my left-handed or right-handedness is? Let's continue.
And this is particularly true of young girls in middle school. Young people's feelings are all over the place. So think about the mind of the child for a moment. So imaginative, so confused, so stubborn, so malleable. Now consider what this particular generation has had drilled into them since childhood.
What do you mean drilled into them since childhood? Acceptance? Have we been drilling into these children, hey, maybe you should accept people if they exist on an LGBTQIA spectrum somewhere? Accept them? Affirm them? Is that bad? Hey, here's some people in our society. They do not fit into the same box as you. They do not look like you. They do not always act like you. But guess what? They're people. Should you not affirm that they're people? Should you not affirm that they have self-identity? Should you not affirm that they have their self-label that they feel comfortable using? Because they looked inside themselves and they express that identity from within. They express their handedness or they express their gender identity. Yes, we should teach young children to accept people because people are people. We don't have society. We don't have humanity without people. It takes all of us to make up a society. It takes all of us to make up humanity.
And there's three main constructs to this. Construct one is the idea that my personal happiness is the key to individual flourishing.
Since when? Who says that? My personal happiness is the key. Your pursuit to happiness is an American way. It is part of us being American. You should be pursuing happiness. You're not guaranteed happiness. You're not even promised happiness. But damn it, as an American citizen, we have the right to pursue it.
Or my personal happiness is living my best life, living abundantly, living to the fullest. So the goal is personal happiness. So think about that. In actuality, happiness is always fleeting. So this is severely flawed in thinking that I can be in a constant state of happiness, but this is the construct.
Can you be in a constant state of pursuing happiness? Can you put yourself on a path and align yourself with the goal of pursuing happiness? I think that is more key, and I think that is a better way to frame this than, oh, I just have to be happy all the time. Then take happy drugs and stay in a fog state of happiness your whole mind. That's not living. I agree with you. It's not right to just be happy all the time. We should have the right to pursue happiness. And you find that happiness within yourself, and you find it within your community, and you find it with what you do, what you accept, who you're around, and how you see yourself. Don't deny people to pursue their happiness. if their happiness is aligning their gender identity with their gender expression and their gender performance, if they have that all in line and that makes them happy, yes, that is pursuit of happiness. For me, I am happier when my gender performance and my gender expression are more closely aligned with my gender identity. For me, expressing and performing my gender identity from within is on the path to happiness. Because if I can more closely align my gender identity and my gender expression, I'm more closer to happiness. I'm on that pursuit to happiness. I feel more balanced and whole as a person because I can express my identity. I'm not going to be happy every day, every moment. I have some great happy moments, but I'm also human. I have moments where I'm not happy. I have days when I'm not happy. I can go weeks without being happy, but I am on a path to pursue it. And I am much closer to happiness, and I'm pursuing it much more fervently when I am expressing my gender identity from within. I don't think other people should be denied that opportunity to pursue their happiness because you don't like a path that they may be taking. You don't like that they have an identity that you don't agree with. It's their identity. Either you can affirm them or you can be a dick and not affirm someone's identity. So yeah, affirmation only is being human, is being nice. It's being part of a productive society that embraces and loves its citizens. Affirm their identity. Affirm their expression. It is not hard to do. It's not hard to use empathy and acceptance to love and accept another human. Let's see what else they have to say.
So construct number 2 is that I am my personal feelings. I need to express feelings outwardly, what I am feeling inwardly. So for example, a child experiences anxiety when around new people, or talking to grown-ups, or talking on the phone. Like a decade or two ago, we used a moral vocabulary instead of a psychological vocabulary. In the past, parents would compel the child, who they saw as being rude, to practice speaking on the phone or ordering off a menu. But now, these same kids, these parents are labeling them as having social anxiety and excusing the same before-mentioned behavior. So that's construct 2. Construct 3 is the idea.
I am dyslexic. And reading sometimes is challenging for me. Writing sometimes is challenging for me. I get anxiety when I have to write or read because the damn letters and words jump around on me and they don't make sense all the time. That is confusing. That causes anxiety. But there are tools to work around that. There are tools to understand that here is a point of anxiety, and here are some tools to help ease that anxiety. I was able to put myself through a prestigious college and graduate with a 3.6 grade point average, even though I struggled to read and write because of my dyslexia. Because I found little tools to help me. Not just to bash me down and force me to be not dyslexic. That wouldn't have been the answer if someone was standing there telling me, stop being dyslexic, stop being dyslexic, just be not dyslexic. How is that going to help? It doesn't. You understand their challenges and you find tools to help them get over those hurdles. If a child has anxiety because they want to call up their friend or talk to an adult, and they have a true anxiety about that, recognize it. Find the good tools to help them get over those hurdles. Don't punish them and be a dick about it. Come on.
Yeah, that interfering with somebody else's happiness is very, very bad. And if you interfere or disagree with this ideology, you can be labeled as transphobe, someone who hates anyone not exactly like them, and canceled like so many other of the brilliant.
Can you imagine her making that same argument and when we're heavy into the civil rights movement and African American black citizens of this country are saying, I deserve all effing rights that y'all are having? And what if she was to say the same statement like that? Right? Let's hear it again.
Is the idea that interfering with somebody else's happiness is very, very bad. And if you interfere or disagree with this ideology, you can be labeled as transphobe, someone who hates anyone not exactly like them, and canceled like so many other of the brilliant minds.
If you didn't go along with civil rights movements, you probably should be labeled a racist. If you don't recognize and see that transgender people deserve their spot in society, you should be considered a transphobe, because that's what you're doing. You're being transphobic. You're saying that these people, because of who they are, don't deserve the same rights or the same treatments or the same privileges as other citizens, because that's what you're saying. And yes, that is phobic, because you're not talking about what they do, their behaviors. You're talking about who they are. And that is hateful. And if you have issues with people being trans, you're transphobic. That's what the word means. It means a phobia means that you have a fear of something, but there's not a logical, rational reason that links you to that fear. There's no logical, rational reason to link you to wanting to push down and eliminate trans people from existing in your society, in our society. There's no logical, rational reason for it. Therefore, it is a phobic. Therefore, you are transphobic. Get it? So yeah, if you are going against the civil rights movement, you probably were racist. If you're going against the transgender movement for acceptance and existence in society, yes, you're transphobic. I will say that, yes.
This is the continuous push to affirm feelings no matter what they are. And let's be honest, feelings pass, especially in children.
Feelings do indeed pass, which is what makes the handling of the entire...
Yeah, feelings pass, but your identity is not going to. You may feel right-handed for a little while, but guess what? Probably still left-handed, right? When you look inside yourself, no matter what label was placed on you when you were born, that label may not align. If you were assigned left-handed at birth, you may at some point in your life figure out that you're not left-handed. If you were assigned box A at birth in our gender labeling system, you may discover at some point in your life that no, that box of gender identity is not the box you belong in.
of the trans debate, particularly when it comes to children, maddening. Unfortunately, we've started to see these emotions and the associated affirmation craze become codified into law, which is perhaps one of the most dangerous elements of the current crisis. And the federal government, under the Biden administration, has openly embraced child transitions, with the president calling upon parents to affirm children's self-perceptions.
Hey, Biden! I don't like a lot of things Biden does. Not my favorite president ever, but much better than the alternatives. And yay on Biden. Humans need affirmation within our country. Big, bold step. Good job, Biden. Being bold on accepting people for who they are. Big step. That's where we're at in America. We're at in America where you say, hey, I can accept you for being you. Give me a medal. I'm a hero. Because there's lots of people who think that you shouldn't be accepting people for who they are. Right? So good on Biden.
In fact, Biden said in a recent speech, quote, "To the parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe and healthy."
Yes.
unquote.
Yes, yes!
Government descends into
Yes! Thank you, Biden. Yes! That concise and right to the point. You want to protect your child? Accept them. Use empathy, love them, and protect them. Protect them from the society who doesn't understand them, doesn't understand their journey.
madness. States and communities across the countries are fighting back. I spoke with Robin Lundstrom, an Arkansas state representative, about her action to curb gender madness. Representative Lundstrom, you've played a very instrumental role in this space because you were the lead sponsor of a bill in the state of Arkansas called the SAFE Act, the Save Adolescents from Experimentation Act, which is model legislation that other states are using, but your state was the first, and you were the first legislator to put your name on it, and you got the bill passed. Can you tell us how that started, and what was it about this issue, the medicalization of gender, particularly in children, hormone blockers, cross-sex hormones, and cosmetic gender surgeries on minors? When did that first come to your attention, and what was your first reaction when you learned about what that was and how it was happening to a few people in your state?
Well, at first I was very surprised.
Children under 18, hormone blockers, they're for you. They're not for people who have already gone through puberty. That makes no sense. Puberty blockers are designed to be given to children before they go through puberty, right? It would make no sense to do puberty blockers after puberty. Puberty blockers are not for just trans kids either. They are for cis kids. When they were first starting to be given to kids a long time ago, mainly cis kids. The first time I ever heard of puberty blockers, it was because my cousin was going to go on it. I was a little kid. He was older than me. And I don't know if he actually took the puberty blockers or not, but I remember the conversations that the family was having with the doctor. And the rest of the family were having these conversations too. The child was like 8 or 10 years old, and he was starting onset signs of puberty, and he was too young for him to handle that puberty. So they're like, we better get him on some blockers and slow down this unwanted puberty. And it wasn't a trans kid. That's when I first heard of hormone blockers for cis kids, and they still use them for cis kids. Any child who is going to be experiencing a puberty onset that they are not ready for mentally and physically and socially, that's what those drugs are for. And like all drugs, they have side effects. Yes, there's going to be side effects. Nothing harmful, nothing too bad, and it's completely reversible if that child starts taking hormone blockers, and then for whatever reason, them and their family decide not to take the hormone blockers again. Stop taking the hormone blockers.
I'm very thankful that the Republican legislature and actually the Republican women made this part of their Dream Big agenda for last session. And we actually got together and we're talking about different issues. And I brought up that this was starting to happen a lot on the West Coast and East Coast. And one of the other legislators said, it's actually happening here in Arkansas. And I thought, surely not. And the more we investigated, the more...
There are trans kids on the West Coast and trans kids on the East Coast, and they're getting treatment. We don't have trans kids here. No, we don't. We probably don't even have gay kids here. We only have good white little Christian kids here, right? Or are kids no matter where they live? If a kid discovers their gender identity and discovers that it is not in alignment with the gender identity they were assigned at birth, that can happen no matter where you live. It has nothing to do with the borders wrapped around your city and county. It has to do with humanity. It's part of being human. Not all humans, but part of us. So this lady's freaked out because, human things are happening in Arkansas. Woo, they only happen on the West Coast and East Coast, those human type things. You kidding me, lady? So you're gonna write some scary law to harm trans communities. In 2023, there have been more than 500 bills written in these United States in some form that are directly affecting transgender communities and transgender people. 500 bills in this country.
nobody realized it was happening here in Arkansas. And in order to get out ahead of this before hundreds and hundreds of kids were impacted, we thought we'd start. And little did we know how many kids just in Arkansas were experiencing this type of trauma and were impacted by, unfortunately, this type of woke agenda.
How many people live in Arkansas? I have no idea. I'm guessing a few millions. Millions of people live in Arkansas, right? They have to be millions. And if 1% of that population is transgender, there's going to be thousands of people. Not all of them are adults either. Political borders do not dictate gender identities. So if 1% of our human population is transgender, 1% of Arkansas should be transgender. That's kind of how math things work, right?
Robin researched and explored the realities on the ground. She became increasingly troubled by what she claims to have found.
The more you research this issue, the more disheartening and the more concerned you become. And I actually had transgender adults come and talk to me and tell me the trauma that they've been through and how they wanted to see this not happen to children.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't want to see traumas happen to children too. I'm a transgender adult. I'm coming to you. I don't want to see children being forced to live their lives out wearing a label they don't identify with. How does that sound? If a child discovers that they are trans, I would like that to be affirmed. Affirmation of a child's identity is good. Affirmation of a child's expression is good. Denial is not.
Hearing the amount of surgery, they make it sound so easy. Oh, you can just do top surgery or bottom surgery, or you can take gender affirming care. There's nothing gender affirming about this. It's actually...
There's nothing gender affirming. You're saying my surgeries that I've had haven't affirmed. What does it mean when we affirm? What does it mean to the person, the patient, with the affliction? Because you need affirmation because you're dealing with an affliction. The affliction that the transgender people are dealing with is gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is when your gender identity and your gender expression are not aligned. So your gender identity is within you. And you look inside and you go, ooh, this is my gender identity. And then you look on the outside, you look through a mirror, a social mirror, a mirror on a wall, and you're trying to compare the two. And you're going, whoa, this expression is way off from this identity. It doesn't even look the same. It's not even close. And it hurts. It hurts that I see myself on the inside here. And on the outside, it's expressing way out here. They're different. They're not even close, and that hurts. That's the gender dysphoria. When you look in the mirror, and inside you're seeing feminine, and on the mirror you're seeing harsh masculinity, and it doesn't feel good because it's not how you feel and see yourself on the inside. It's not how you discovered yourself on the inside. You don't look inside and paint that inside person. You discover that inside person and you express it. You don't look inside yourself and demand that you're right-handed or left-handed. You look inside yourself and you discover that you're left-handed or right-handed. Now, if you had to express your other-handedness in every aspect of your life, it would be uncomfortable. Having to express your gender identity that's not aligned is where the gender dysphoria comes in. And it hurts. For me, my gender dysphoria is pretty eased based on surgeries, based on hormone replacement therapy, laser hair removal, social affirmation. Those are the biggest things that help align my gender identity with my gender expression. Is that kind of clear to you? So gender dysphoria is a misalignment of identity and expression. If you can get those in line, guess what? The gender dysphoria goes away. I look in a mirror, I look in a social mirror or the mirror on my wall, and I'm not exactly how I see myself inside. When I look inside, not exactly, but pretty damn close. Close enough so I don't really feel much gender dysphoria. I have felt it before in the past, and it hurts. And if you can ease it through social affirmation, it eases that affliction of gender dysphoria. If you can ease that alignment of identity and expression through hormone replacement, yes, that feels so good. It feels so good because it eases the affliction. It feels so good when you look in the mirror and it reflects back and you see something close to what you see inside you. And gender dysphoria goes away and you feel good. So when we say we're pursuing happiness, that's one of the biggest things about happiness, is getting rid of the pain and discomfort of the gender dysphoria. Ease the gender dysphoria, the happiness goes up.
Like cutting the breasts off a 13-year-old child or the penis off of a 17-year-old.
They keep bringing this up. Breast off a 13-year-old child. Oh my goodness. Try to get a surgery for a child under 18. That is not happening very often. It's not a child can just walk into some clinic and go, yo, cut these things off. It doesn't work that way. They have to go through so many hoops to have any kind of surgery as a child, with their parents, with their doctors, with their surgeons, with the insurance companies. This is not a free-for-all medical institution here in the United States. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. For my surgeries as an adult, I had to jump through so many hoops to do that. So, surgeries for children not happening all the time, if at all, very, very rarely. I would like her to name how many transgender surgeries for children under 16. I don't think there's going to be that many. Not many. There's thousands of transgender children in Arkansas. About 1% of your population is transgender.
Male. These kids don't even know what they're getting into, but you talk to transgender adults and they will tell you pretty quickly just how horrific this is. And they are very quick to tell you just how painful this whole process is. And so I was really appreciative of the fact that there are adults all over this country who have said, no, this should not happen to children.
What should not happen to children? Affirmation? We should affirm that child's identity. We should affirm them. Surgeries? Yeah, I'm kind of in your corner. I don't want children to have surgeries. Unnecessary surgeries, they don't need it. If they absolutely need it and that doctor says, yeah, this is really going to help the child, and the parents are like, yes, we need my child to have this surgery, and the child's like, yes, I really want the surgery, yeah, have the surgery. That child can make it to 18 without having some unnecessary surgeries. That's good. I don't think they're going to make it to 18 without puberty blockers if they need puberty blockers, though. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that most children go through puberty before 18? And do you agree that puberty blockers are designed to stop and slow down onset of puberty? And when do you think onset of puberty happens? Pretty early in their teen lives. Maybe even earlier. So whenever that medicine is needed for those children, it should be available for them. And it should have affirmation from everyone else. Surgeries for children, special cases, should just be given out blankly. Going through lots of things can be very painful. If you talk to a bunch of adults who went through back surgery, they're going to tell you some horror stories about having back surgery. And a good portion are going to tell you they regret the back surgery. A good portion say, I wish I never had that back surgery. I want other people not to have that back surgery because it doesn't always make it as happy as I want it to be. It's not always the best surgery. Or maybe a knee surgery. Knee surgeries probably have a little more success than back surgeries. I'm sure there's lots of adults that had knee surgeries are going to be like, I regret this knee surgery. I don't really want other people to suffer the pain I went through with this knee surgery. It did not treat my knee the way it should have. Everything's not as great as it should be. I'm still in pain. There was a lot of pain. Don't go through it. Can you find people like that too? Can you find people who regret back surgery? Can you find people who regret knee surgery? Name another surgery. Find the people who regret it and find out that those people are very vocal about others not going through the suffering and pain they went through. In knee surgery, you can also do the converse to that. Find the same surgeries that people made them happy and successful. They'll probably say, yes, it's great, you should have the surgery. That goes across the board for any surgery. To try to use that tactic to say that children should not have affirmation because a surgery might not be good, it might be painful. Yeah, of course. We're not even talking about those children having surgeries. We're talking about those children being socially affirmed for their identity that they have. What percentage of surgeries are 100% success rate? What surgery? Name one surgery that is 100% success rate. Name a medical procedure that has 100% success rate. You can't. Look at the statistics of medical treatments for gender dysphoria. It is far higher in success rates than knee surgeries, than back surgeries, than just about any other surgery. Rhinoplasty. How many people regret the rhinoplasty they've had? More people than have regretted affirmation surgeries. So, if you want to keep talking about surgery, we'll talk about surgery. But if you want to talk about transgender children affirmation, that's a different story. Transgender affirmation for children is social. It is socially accepting them for who they are. That does not cause pain and regrets. Affirmation for who you are is a key to success.
When did it sort of hit you that you realized, okay, I'm a lawmaker, I'm an elected representative, I have to take action, I must put my name on a bill and go to bat for something like this because it's just so important? Can you tell us what it was that spurred you on to take this action?
Thought process is, the more you read about this issue, it's a lot like seeing in a car accident. Do you not dial 911? What adult looks the other way when you know that this is happening to children in Arkansas?
This makes some laws about them expressing who they are. And it all boils down to you don't like it. You don't like who they are. You don't like adults who are trans. So you don't want children to be trans. Guess what? They're trans whether you like it or not. They're trans whether you affirm it or not. You want them to make their lives more miserable? Don't affirm them. Yes, you want to rise the suicide rates in transgender children? Don't affirm them. If you want to ease and help the suicide rates within the transgender community, affirmation, treatment for gender dysphoria, empathy, understanding, that will pretty much eliminate the levels of suicide rates within our community. I don't understand this non-affirmation. Non-affirmation. Don't affirm. Don't affirm your handedness. Don't affirm your gender identity. Only use the labels you were assigned to. You were assigned a label. Use it. Don't deviate from it. Don't deviate whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Don't deviate and look inside where your identity is. You were labeled it. You were assigned it. Don't try to express it. Only express the gender identity you were assigned. Is that how we see America? Is that how we see our society? When we force people to express a label assigned to them, and if they deviate from them, they should be punished. They should be pushed to as second-class citizens. Because this is what it sounds like. You're writing laws. You're making bills to hurt people. You do that to second and third class citizens. Is that what you think of us? Not. Full-fledged American citizen. I vote. I've been in this country my whole life. My parents have been in this country their whole life. Their parents have been in this country. Their parents' parents. My ancestry has been in this country since the 1600s. I am American, and I am trans. And I have the right to pursue my happiness. I have the right to affirmation of my identity, and so does every other American citizen in these United States. Whether you're a child or adult, you as a citizen have the right to express who you are. That's American. You have the right to pursue happiness. That is American.
You know, in every state, we set parameters for children under 18. You can't buy spray paint or cough syrup, but we would look the other way while they're cutting themselves. I don't.
What do you mean look the other way when they're cutting themselves? No. If you have a child that is cutting themselves, they need some counseling. They need some help. They're harming themselves. You are comparing someone who is harming themselves with someone who is expressing their identity. That is decisive, and that is just wrong to conflate those two things. Cutting yourself and asking for affirmation of your identity are not even in the same ballpark. How dare this lady compare a child cutting themselves to a child demanding affirmation for their identity? Completely different things.
I think so. That would be the time to say something. Is back in 2020 when this whole started, we needed to say something. And waiting, maybe thinking it might go away. Now, then you become part of the problem, not part of the solution. So, in my estimation, that was the time to act.
What is the it? She's talking about the it as in affirmation of transgender people? She's seriously just saying in those words that she thought transgender people are going to go away, and they're not, so we're going to make some laws to make them go away. That's seriously what she's saying. Whew. I think we're going to have to stop it there for today. I'm going to get way too worked up. Whew. Okay. We are going to continue our adventure at listening to Generation Indoctrination, the Transgender Battle podcast, which is brought to us by the Christian Post. Oh, thank you, Christian Post. Oh, killing it. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, we're wrapping it up. So, remember, love yourself, but more importantly, like yourself, and treat people the way they want to be treated. Bye-bye for now.